Oh, wow! I didn't even see you there. Come on in, cause it's story time. Hey, you guys. Today we have a very special story time, and that is actually the story of this snake that I'm holding right here. The one that my wife Courtney is calling Lucky. So, as all of you should know, we hatched northern white-lipped pythons this year. And as some of you may or may not know, this is my first year actually producing animals. So, I did have a clutch last year that was an accidental clutch. I actually bought a female that turned out to be gravid, and we got a surprise clutch of ball python eggs. I'll link that video in the description below explaining how that happened, and I'll link our video announcing when we hatched our northern white-lips in the description below as well. But basically, I'm still relatively new to this. By the way, if you'd like me to make a video about how I went about hatching northern white-lipped pythons in my first year breeding, I would definitely be glad to make that as well. Comment below if you would like to see that. This year, 10 eggs were laid by our female Belle. So, 8 of these eggs pipped out and came out on their own. And I checked the 9th egg and there was a snake dead in the egg. I think it may have actually been rolled over by its sibling or something like that because it had pipped out, but the end that it had pipped out on was actually facing down. So it may have been struggling to get out and actually died in there. So I had just pulled out all the living babies and I had just seen a dead baby. And this is actually my first time seeing a fully formed dead baby of any species because I've had 3 ball python clutches before this, and my 4th clutch in my first year breeding is northern white-lips. So I actually saw a dead baby, and then right after that there was a moldy, ugly egg that had not pipped. So I figured it was probably dead as well, but I cut it so I could look, and when I cut it there was a bunch of blood. Like the liquid inside the egg was not clear like you would want to see. It was murky, it was bloody, and it was gross. So I actually touched the snake and I didn't see any movement. And the snake I thought was dead because I just saw a snake before it that was dead, and I was like, there's no way the one in this egg actually survived. So I actually pulled the snake out of the egg just because I was curious to see how much it had developed. And this snake was inside that egg alive. Not only was it alive, but I had made a huge mistake in pulling it out of the egg earlier because it still had the egg yolk sac attached to it, okay? So this is something that the snakes absorb before they come out of the egg, and this is not supposed to be still on the snake. That means the snake needed more time in the egg, which I said was very murky, but it's possibly true that I cut some veins or something like that when I was cutting the egg. So I'm not sure exactly what was going on with the egg. I'm not sure if I left the snake in the egg, if it would have come out or not. But either way, I pulled it out of the egg and it had a yolk sac still attached to it. So I called my good friend William Philippek, okay? William Philippek is a good friend and a mentor to me, okay? So I told Will exactly what happened, and I said, have you ever done that before? And he said no. And, I couldn't help but think that was funny because he has a ton of experience and I made a pretty boneheaded mistake, right? So I told him exactly what happened, and he said, here's what you do though. I've heard that you can take the snake, put it in a deli cup with a moist paper towel, close a lid on it, and basically put it in the incubator all over again, just on a slightly lower temperature. Basically simulating it being in the egg so it could absorb the rest of the egg sac. And then I was like, what temperature do I put it on? And Will said, I'm not quite sure because you're basically an experiment. And I said, wow, thanks, Will. But, I was like, you know what, would like 85 be cool? And he was like, yeah, that would probably be cool. So I went ahead and put this snake with the yolk in the incubator with a paper towel and a deli cup at 85 and just left it in there to absorb some of that yolk sac. And I actually only had to change the cup out one time. I just had a new cup ready with a new moist paper towel, and I went ahead and changed it out. And at the end of the day, this, what appears to be female, actually did absorb some of the yolk sac. She was able to go ahead and disconnect from the yolk sac, and then I took her out of the incubator and set her up in her enclosure. And she hasn't had her first shed, she hasn't had her first meal, and none of our northern white-lipped pythons have yet, so that's nothing to be concerned about. but she's not out of the woods yet, but she has lived so far. And I just thought that I would share this experience with people so that if something like that was to happen to you, you would know what to do. And I thought that was very interesting. Big shout out to William Philippek because he has so much experience that though he had never experienced the exact thing that happened to me, he was able to help me out a lot. So I really appreciate that. And my wife will not leave this snake alone. Courtney loves this snake a lot. She calls it Lucky. And I basically have all of the other northern white-lipped pythons already sold and accounted for, except for this one. So this one might end up being a holdback or something like that. We will keep you posted on Lucky's progress, but I thought that was a super cool story. I definitely made a mistake, but I did everything I could to make that mistake better. And as of right now, we still have this snake. So that is absolutely wonderful. I'm thinking it's not going to have any problems eating. It's behaving normally. It's acting just like all the other northern white-lips. It is actually slightly smaller, but the egg that it came out of was smaller as well. So we'll see what happens as far as this snake. But as of right now, doing great. I thought that that was a pretty cool story. And we're going to probably have to do a part 2 on this story as well. Follow us on Instagram at Markham Reptiles. Support us on Patreon. The number one way to support us is through Patreon. Our Patreon is linked in the description below. Keep spreading the love of reptiles. Until next time, take care. This has been Storytime.